Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Solid State Group PLC Capital Markets Day. Throughout this recorded meeting, attendees online will be in listen-only mode. Questions are encouraged. They can be submitted any time during using the Q&A tab situated on the right-hand corner of your screen. Before we begin, we'd like to submit the following poll, and I'm sure the company will be most grateful for your participation. And I'd like to hand over to CEO Gary Marsh. Good morning.
Thanks, Mark. Yes, I'm Gary Marsh, CEO of Solid State. Welcome to our inaugural Capital Markets Day. So any constructive comments are always welcome. Thanks for taking the time to come out and see us today. Very good attendance. I know we've got a great attendance through IMC. I think 130 odd signed up, which is fantastic to see. And I think the main purpose of today is a busy schedule, but for you to sort of get under the skin of the company a bit more and get a bit of understanding of what we do and how we do it. We run regular site visits to Redditch, where you can get to see our components and systems business, and particularly the computer side in action. So if you like what you see today and you want to do a bit more, they're run very regularly. If you speak to Tom Cooper at Walbrook PR, he can sign you up for that. So I'd recommend that. Good way of kicking the tires, and we get very good reviews from it. So please think about that. So I'll just run quickly through the agenda this morning. Myself and Peter James, our CFO, will do a quick introduction to the group. We'll then move to the meat of the day, really, the components division presentation. And there's a customer video now. Scott Brenton will talk you through that. Then Q&A. There's then a 10-minute break to wire up the systems team for their presentations. And then there'll be a systems overview. And then we've got a really good demo on some of our own brand products there on our communication side of the business. And that'll be talked through by James Hall. We've been in the defence sector, which is what that product is particularly aimed at, for over half a century now. We're very embedded in that market, and it's great. We're rolling out some of our own brand products organically into that. And as I say, we'll give you a good feel of that later. Again, Q&A, there'll be some concluding remarks from myself and Peter, and then lunch and more chance for Q&A if you've got the stomach for it. So this is our presenting team. You'll get some I feel really good feel of the business. They really bring it to life in this morning's session. So no pressure, chaps. So I'll spend a little bit of time on this slide. So the quote at the bottom of the slide, I think, really does encapsulate what we do. But I can hear you say, well, yeah, that's great, Gary, but how do you do that? And it really boils down to two things. It's the know-how in the company and our capabilities. The know-how really comes from our team. We spent a good many years developing our team across the group. We have a fantastic industry-leading team of people now in the company, and their job is to design in our technology into our customers' demanding applications, into the chosen market sectors we want to work in. And they're very good at doing that and getting us repeat business and new business annually. And I'll come on to the team in a bit more on a following slide. Capabilities, again, very important. We've spent decades building those. Whether it is our near-field anechoic test chamber for RF antenna manufacture, our EMC test chamber. We have a class 5 clean room for the manufacture of our optical products, and an array of environmental test capabilities across the group. We've built that. We continue to invest in that annually. And I'd say there's very few, if any, people in the UK now that have that level of capability to showcase to customers. And what that is about, really, collectively, the know-how and our capabilities really help us to become an extension of the engineering team of our customers, and that really does build stickiness with our clients, and that really helps. Obviously, new business is very important too. We're always seeking out new business. We do that through several ways: marketing initiatives. Glad to say trade shows since the pandemic are well and truly back. We exhibit at numerous trade shows around the world, all backed by now a 56 people team of BD and salespeople. So we've got a very strong team there. Also 56 strong team of engineers. So that's really good to see. I'll move on now to how we're organised a little bit. So those of you that have known us a while will see we've rebranded and done some brand refresh. So the insignia you see on the left-hand side will roll out, and that'll form part of new businesses as they join the group. But I think it's important to get that family feel for the company. We're quite disparate. I think it's probably overdue, the rebranding and the brand and the new brand launches. But you'll get that. That can only help with cross-selling and cross-fertilization of stuff in the company. So starting with Steertight. Steertight's the first acquisition we ever made 22 years ago. Up until end of March, they were focused on all three of those segments. You see at the bottom, power, communications, and computing. They're now focused on the communications to computing part of the business, with power now transferring to Custom Power, the business we bought in Fountain Valley, California 2 years ago. And that we've harmonized that. It's all under one brand now. So that's important. We're getting requests from our US customers to start doing work for them in Europe, and having under one brand, I think will be much easier. It's also going to help certainly in us looking to design in and simplify how we approach the market with our high altitude aerial drone battery packs. So we've got a good customer set in Europe for that, and having that sort of seamless integration across Custom Power USA and in Europe, I think will really help there. Active Silicon remains as our imaging business. They work very closely with Steertight. We bought them in 2021, and they work in close collaboration. I won't go on about Salsa too much because JB will tell me off because he's got it on a later slide. But suffice to say, I think we've made 4 acquisitions in our components business over the last few years, and it needed to consolidate behind one identity, and that's done very well. I won't steal his thunder, but JB will talk to you about the franchise own brand of value-added services we wrap around that. But that's been really well received, so we're really pleased about that. So I said I'd talk to you about teams, but this is our strategic pillars of our group. We set this up in 2018. It's obviously constantly under review, but those pillars haven't changed. Investment and development of talent, that for me is the most important of the four pillars of what we do. Our team's really important, whether that's nurturing and developing our homegrown team, attracting high caliber individuals to join the group through recruitment, but also very importantly is the acquisition of talent in the company. We have people joining the company through acquisition is really important to us. And where is he? Chris, can you stand up, please? So Chris Harrington, his firm Rugged System joined Solid State in 2010. He was managing director of that firm. He now heads up a very important part of our business, our communications, particularly our radios division, and he's integral to that. And I could name others as well. So we're really blessed with having a very good team, as I say, industry leading. So long may that continue. I think the other aspect of it for us is retention of people. We work really hard on retaining staff, having low churn. It's very expensive to recruit people. They leave, you've got to re-recruit. That's a big on cost for that, and really pleased with we have very good retention rates. Moving to the next element, ongoing process adding complementary products. So you take our components division. Years ago it was semiconductors. It moved into displays, opto, electromechanical devices. We're constantly looking to broaden out that product set and the technology profile we can do and the services we do. So they'll talk a bit later about the training we're doing for that product. So we've got a training program, people qualified to train the army on that, and that's we've got that out for a year or more now. So, but that's a combination of organic, complementary additions and acquisitive ones. Own brand, lot of work here on that, both organically and again through acquisition targeting. Big thrust on that. Typically on our components business is 10% better gross margins than it is for our franchise work, but that's an own brand product. So it isn't simply just for our systems, our component side of the business. We look at developing it across the entire group. And lastly, internationalizing the company. We felt years ago it's really important for us to decouple ourselves from the UK growth pattern. So in 2019, international sales represented 20% of the company's total sales. 2023, it'll be 43%, and we'll have made good progress this year to the end of March 24 on that, and there'll be more on that when we do our results in July. What I will now do, if I can find the page right, is hand you over to Peter. I'll talk you through some other bits.
Thanks, Gary. That's great. So I guess the graphs sort of speak for themselves fairly well. The group's made fantastic progress over the last 5 years that we're very proud of. And that's been against the backdrop of some pretty turbulent times, Brexit, COVID, and latterly some of the sort of troubles in Ukraine and Gaza and the like. The diversity of our products and our offering has given us real resilience. So when COVID hit, a really good example is we supplied batteries into commercial aerospace. Clearly, the demand for those fell very rapidly when COVID hit. However, we also supply batteries into medical-powered respirators. They took a year's worth of demand in 2 months. So that diversity meant, through that period where COVID hit, we didn't see huge turbulence in our performance. It was difficult. The team had to work incredibly hard to meet the change in demand, but it was a real test of our resilience, and we came through that well. This year, we were pleased to announce in our recent trading update some really strong performance. We had a very strong end to the year with some of the systems products shipping in this financial year that we had expected to ship in next. So you can see that in the recently upgraded consensus, which is the last bar there in white. So revenues just over 160 million, adjusted PBT approaching 15, operating margins getting close to 10, and adjusted EPS close to £1 as well. So really pleasing with the financial progress we've seen over the last 5 years. In terms of shareholders, the founders, Gordon Comden and Gary's dad, Bill, began to reduce their holding back in sort of 2011 from 90 pence per share. That's been to fulfill institutional demand. We've seen really good support from our institutional holders, some long-standing holders with sort of Hargreave Hale and now Canaccord, and others as well, Schroders, Charles Stanley. We did a fundraise in 22, which was supported by BGF and Charles Stanley and others, and it brought in new holders as well, like Herald and JP Morgan. In terms of other institutions, there's a number that are below the 3% disclosable amount: Lion Trust, Amati, Aegon, to name but a few. So this slide is an overview of what we do, and really I hope brings to life the fact that actually our broad offering means we have multiple touch points in the markets that we target. And if I pick the UAV in the top left hand corner as I look at it, if we look at that, we've got specialist battery solutions, as Gary talked about, that work in the cold, and batteries don't like the cold. Leading edge camera systems, and communications and antenna products. And the guys will talk a little about some of our communications products later. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to the gentleman at the back there, who will bring to life some of our components offering that we have. And so, yeah, I'm going to hand over to Scott, I believe.
Scott, yes.
Who will take you through our components business.
Thank you, Peter.
No worries.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Scott Brenton. I'm the IoT Tech Director for Solster, which is the components division of the Solid State Group. So today we're going to talk about what the components are, where they're used, and where you're likely to see them in your everyday lives. And I'm also going to talk about our value-added services and why that's really important to us. The value-added services piece I'll lead with, and then I'll hand over to John, who will talk about the components in where you'll see them. The value-added services that we offer are critical to us. It's what separates us from our competition, and it's what enables us to retain our customers as repeat customers. So I want to give you some flavour of what it is we do for our customers and why it's important. Whenever we talk to our customers, we always try and understand where can we add value to the supply chain. We want to be more than just a component supplier to them. We try and understand their pain points and try and remove them. And we use our services to understand their business objectives and how we can best align those to help them achieve it. And I'll give some examples of some case studies where I believe we've done that very well. But what are the value-added services we're talking about? Fundamentally, we break them probably easy into two halves. One is our facilities and their functions, and the other is our peoples and their expertise. And I'll start with the facilities. As a distributor of electronic components, it's fully expected of us to ship components, electronic components, the correct and proper way. And of course, with our quality systems, we've been doing that for some years, but we want to be more than that to our customers. We want to add value. So we offer additional services such as device programming, so a customer can receive a component bespoke for their application. We will do that at our purpose-built facilities. We'll do kitting and configuration for them so they can receive a kit of parts as they require them. We'll also do things such as plug and play, so they can receive a device that do nothing more than plug it in or ship it to their customer's customer so they can plug it in. And again, I'll have a case study that shows where that adds some colour to that, where that really made a difference. And then for our military and medical customers, we have a Class 7 clean room in Weymouth. Military medical manufacturing and assembly, which we do, has some of the highest requirements in terms of quality control. The fact that we can offer that in a facility in Weymouth, backed with these additional services, it's all about adding value. We want our customers to see us more as a partner, not just a supplier. But then there's our people. Our team at Solster, they're technology experts. They're able to help our customers navigate the myriad of technology that's out there, but they're also scanning the horizon for what's new and what's coming, so they can bring the leading edge to our customers. They become extensions of those customer teams. When they're designing the next greatest thing, they invite us to that table. They want to know what technologies they should use. That's the value add we do with our people. Equally, we've become trusted advisors on a repeat process. It's not just once. So the next projects, the next projects, and the next projects. Now, at this point, I was hoping to introduce a customer who was going to talk about how great our value-added services are. Unfortunately, Simon Gordon, the founder of FaceWatch, he was due to meet the police minister this afternoon. That meeting got called forward to now, and he's now over in Parliament having that discussion. Parliament wins over us, apparently. So what I was 11 o'clock last night, could you put a video together to share the experience? And that's what he's kindly done. Before we play the video, what I'd like to do is just give you a little bit of an overview, the best I can, of who FaceWatch are. You may have seen FaceWatch recently in the news. It's a very exciting company for us to be working with. They developed a facial recognition system for the prevention of theft, shoplifting in major retail stores up and down the UK. They're recently on the BBC, Sky News, talking about the changes they're making. Equally, it's about protecting staff. As a company, they've really embraced technology. They've embraced AI and facial recognition, as I mentioned, and they've come to us about connectivity, working on 4G and 5G to take these images and push them into the cloud. And that's where we've consulted. I'm going to hopefully play the video through now and let this play through. This is what Simon would have presented if he was here today.
Hello everybody, Simon Gordon speaking from FaceWatch. Thank you, Scott, for allowing me to speak today. I'm really sorry that I'm not there. Unfortunately, I had a meeting with the police minister, which was organised after Scott kindly asked me to originally do this. And we tried to squeeze it in. Unfortunately, in the end, it became impossible. So I've done a rather amateur recording here. Not used to doing these recordings, so please forgive me if it's not, if it's not 100% the sort of quality that you can get used to on television. Anyway, I wanted to talk about FaceWatch and how Solster has helped us. So we've been going for 14 years in total, but about 5 years ago, we started our current business, which is to prevent crime in retail stores. And this uses facial recognition, which before we started really wasn't good enough for the job. But now, of course, as everyone knows, it works amazingly. And we had to roll out to stores, and we had to be able to do it in a way that was fast and very simple, so we could just say to a store, right, yeah, we can put it in next week. We couldn't be going through months and months of delay waiting for fixed lines to be installed, etc. So we decided to go down the route of having mobile routers. So the way we prevent crime in retail stores is to have a camera connected to a router and a switch. The camera detects all the faces of people walking in, and as they walk in, the camera is processing locally because it's got Umbrella AI chips in the cameras, and it's comparing it to our database of subjects of interest. If someone walks in who's on that database, it will immediately ping an alert up to our cloud and send that out to the store. But not only does it have to do the pinging of the alerts, but also we need to be able to provide each of the stores with access to all the faces of the people that have walked in, which we retain for 7 days basically, so that they can get very high quality images of people walking in, which then become, if necessary, if somebody does commit a crime, which then become part of our database of subjects of interest. So we're using up an awful lot of data. We're sending up about 10 gigabytes of data a month. Mostly it's uploads, and it's extremely challenging with the mobile networks as they are to be able to do this in all the sites. You can see in that map on the left there are these are all our installations at the moment. So we're up to almost 1,500 cameras out there. We've got a growth rate of 150 a month, so we're growing at 10 to 15% a month at the moment. We've doubled every year for the last 4 years, so it's very, very rapid. So we have a very small number of extremely good partners, and Solster is one of them, because we don't have the expertise to choose the right hardware necessarily, and to choose how to how to roll this out in the most efficient way. So by having excellent partners, we've been able to rise to the challenge of rolling out at this sort of speed, which is pretty challenging. So we've managed now to create this network whereby all these cameras are talking to our main server, and we can control all of them and make sure they're all online, that they're all in focus, that they're all set up correctly, and that the detections that are coming through are all good enough quality. We've got a team of people that do that, obviously, because there's a lot of stuff to look at. But what Solster's done for us over the years, and they've been involved since the start of this of the current product, they've helped us right from the beginning with choosing the right hardware. They've also given us technical support, and they've helped us through what's been a very exciting but also very challenging few years. They've also recently been helping us and getting involved in our project to upload data more efficiently, more cheaply, but also with less issues which we occasionally get when networks go up and down. So we're working on a project with them right now and with their router partners to be able to actually roll out even more effective routers. They've always been there for us. They're great at ensuring they've got the stock. They've never let us down once. They are always at the end of the phone. There's been a lot of setup of routers. All the technical side of that they've helped with. They've ensured that when the routers are delivered, they've got all the correct settings. They're ready to go for us. And any other equipment that we need, they can also assist with. So I just really wanted to speak today because I wanted to just say how amazing they've been. You know, when you're growing very, very fast, it's really important to have the right partners, because otherwise, if you get it wrong, your reputation can go down the tubes very, very quickly. We're very lucky. We've got very happy customers. We're reducing crime significantly. In some stores, reducing it by up to 70, 80, 90%, someone said the other day. So, you know, it's incredibly effective. But if you don't have the data and you don't have the alerts and the detections coming up to the cloud so that you can act on those and send out the appropriate alerts to the customers, you really don't have a product, or we don't have a product. So, yes, Solster has been there all the way through. They're going to carry on with us, growing rapidly. We've signed up some massive retailers recently, and we've got more in the pipeline. It's the way of the future as far as security is concerned, I believe, and the results we're getting from retailers is fantastic. And I'm more than happy to stand here or sit here and say thank you very much to Solster and to Scott and the team who have always supported us. And I'm looking forward to finishing the current project and moving forward. And as equipment changes and improves, they will no doubt continue to keep us fully updated, and they'll be working with us right the way through as a trusted partner. So thank you guys, and look forward to working with you for the next few years until we take over the world. Thank you. Bye.
You cannot come again with testimony like that. What I'm hoping that you're picking up from this, we're trying to be more than just shipping a thing, shipping a device. We add value through our people and the advice we give and the services that our facilities offer our customers. And you heard it from Simon there. It's about long-term relationships. We want the customers to come and come again, and that's what we're always looking to achieve. I've just got a few more examples of where else our value-added services and why it's so important to us. I'll just talk about these briefly. There's three there to focus on. We were working with a digital signage company. They were putting the typical signs that you see into retail environments, the latest offers and the news and whatnot. They had won with a major retailer a deployment for 450 sites across the UK and Europe. but they had an issue. They wanted to remotely change the content without having to send expensive engineers on site. So they came to us and said, how do we do this? Because if we hook into the retailer's network, there's cybersecurity concerns. They sought our advice and we were able to navigate that particular piece. Equally, they wanted to be able to deploy on these sites without having to send an engineer to install every single one. So using our facilities, we developed a configuration of a device that could be sent and plugged in and switched on. And that saved them enormous amounts of money in engineering time. And it meant that we deployed to just over 450 sites, and all 150 sites came online immediately with 0 rejects. And that's through our value-added services. And the long-term partnership, they continue to come back to us for the next project from here on in. They trust us as a partner. They come back time and time again. We had a military customer. It's a customer that's been a customer of ours for some time. They were buying a particular device from us. The manufacturer of that device, for whatever reason, made a decision that they were going to no longer manufacture it. This was a problem for this military customer because they were providing to a platform they had to guarantee for 10 years. So they reached out to us and said, look, could you secure the stock and use your long-term storage facilities to secure them the right way, that they're environmentally controlled, and also use your testing and screening process to make sure that in 5 years they still fit, form and function. Of course, we were happy to help, and we linked up with our people to the manufacturer, and we secured that business for this client for the next 8 years. We understood their business objective and we helped them address it. And the last one was something that took place last year, deployed last year. A major UK water company in the south of England had around 4,500 sites, which were things from manned buildings, sluice gates, water treatment facilities, a myriad of different sites. But all of them were connected using analog phone lines, which, as many of you may know, were switched off by BT as part of the digital transformation. What do? They need communication to a borehole in the field somewhere, and they need comms to these devices. That's where they came to us. Initially, they know because they found the product and they linked that to us, but how do we deploy? And that's where our people came and developed a system to deploy in. We also customized the device because there were certain network protocols they needed on that device. So we helped them customize that piece of software. And we actually, with one of our manufacturers, got them to on board with a piece of software that helped them deploy, monitor, and manage these sites out in the field. So with those 3 examples and Simon's testimony, what I hope you take away from this is it's about adding value to the supply chain. And that's what differentiates us from our competition and why we have long-term partnerships with our customers. I'm going to hand over to John now, who's going to talk about what the components are, where they're used, and where you may see them.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Good morning, everybody. So I wanted to give you a bit of a flavour about what are the component side of our business. What is it all about? So what is a component? What do we mean by a component? For us, a component is a product or a device that we supply somewhere that goes into something else with a load of other components to make it work. Rarely are they supplied as one thing on their own. They generally will work with other things. They're not solutions like we get from our sister company. These can be semiconductors, they can be electromechanical devices, they can be wireless routers, they can be anything and everything that comes out of the Silicon Valley area of America, out of China, out of everywhere else to create this massive swell of electronic componentry that we supply into. It's not a surprise to any of us that the proliferation of electronic components is enormous. They are absolutely everywhere. You look around the room and you can see them everywhere. We take the humble toothbrush. The humble toothbrush used to be simply a standalone device that you scrub your teeth with. Now it's electronic. Not only is it electronic, you can now get an app that links to your toothbrush to give you data back on how well you're brushing. So what we've done is turn a toothbrush into a connected toothbrush through the proliferation of electronic components. If you take a fridge, for instance, in the kitchen, you can now get a fridge that's got a camera inside the door and an LCD on the front. You can dial in and access it from your smartphone. Look what's in your fridge so you know what you've got to pick up on the way home. What we've done again is turn a fridge into a connected fridge. Okay, again, it's the proliferation of electronic components. They are everywhere and everywhere that you see them. But components on their own need an application. Our customers are the people that come up with the ideas. They're the ones that are coming up with what should we do next? Where do we go next? What are we trying to do? And that may be something where they found a gap in a new emerging market that they want to try and exploit. Or it may simply be that they want to increase the benefits and the features of their current product for their next iteration. Either are just as suitable. And both of these operate in many different markets. We're working with people from a medical customer into industrial infrastructure, through satellite comms, through ground-based communications, and into the defense sector. So it's very, very broad in terms of what we're offering. But it's the customers who are the solution innovators. They're the guys that are saying, this is what we want to try and do. What we do is try and deploy our resource to assist them in doing that and talk to them about how to do that. That's what we're trying to get to. We understand the emerging technologies as well. So we understand AI. We understand machine learning. We understand IoT. We understand edge computing. We understand how that can benefit each of these customers. Given in some of the applications that customers come up with, we'll now look at it into a little bit more detail and say, you want to develop something with AI. Well, do you really want to develop something with AI? Is that what you're trying to do? Because a lot of customers now are looking for low power, highly efficient means of getting data. And firing data up into the cloud and all the way to a center that's generating all this information and storing all this information in a data center somewhere is very power hungry. So maybe for that application, machine learning on the edge, very close to the process node, where the power requirement is far less, is a better solution. Maybe it's not. Maybe like FaceWatch, we need to fire it to the cloud because the data is that compressed. The idea is that we can do this in both ways. We understand how to utilize this technology, this emerging technology, how it can benefit certain customers. It doesn't suit everybody. We understand IoT incredibly well. Scott will speak to you at length about IoT. We understand the need for creating a product that can now be connected. And then what do we do with the data? How do we work with a customer to try and monetize the data that now they're getting out of this connected device? And again, we can guide them in this fashion in the same way. Every opportunity that we talk to customers about, every application is unique. There is some crossover, sure. There are some standards, sure. But actually the individual application area is unique every time. And it's this uniqueness that allows us to bring our technical knowledge to the forefront about being able to adapt very slightly what they're trying to do to make it unique for them. It means that they will have the product that will differentiate them in their marketplace. We understand where they're trying to go and we understand how we can try and get them there. We work with our franchise partners and we term our franchise partners as the innovators of technology. While the customers may be the innovators of the solution, it's the companies over on the left and many more alongside that are the innovators of the technology. They bring the technology to market through us. We work incredibly closely with them. They trust us to take their technology to the solution innovators, which are our customers. And they trust us because of the team we have in place. Scott's mentioned already the expertise we have. That's what we get. We get this reputation of we work with you because we trust you to do what you say you're going to do. And we take this innovation to the customers. Our market knowledge is vast around this. Gary mentioned that the company has been in existence for over 50 years. There's a huge amount of market knowledge within our business. Within our business development teams, within our engineering teams, within our sales teams, within our marketing teams. Huge amounts of market knowledge that we can deploy. This means that we can take the customer's idea and match it to the technology available. We refer to this as closing the gap between application and specification. What a customer wants to do and what actually the state of the art will allow it to do. And marry that up and try and close that gap for them. Our partners see us as, our solutions technology companies see us as partnerships. They really do. They invest in us and we invest in people to make sure we're growing with them. They want to be part of what we're trying to do. They see the value in what we're trying to do. They like how we go to market. They like how we do stuff. We're continually getting more and more companies want to come and be part of the Solster family because they like how we go to market. They like the value add that we bring. It's not just, as Scott said, trying to ship a box. It's so much more than that. And they like that we want our customers to be successful, because if our customers are successful, so are we. There's no value for Solster whatsoever in working solely with a customer to find that the product they launch doesn't work and it doesn't function, there's no market. That's no benefit to anybody. So it's in our best interest to do the best job we can and get that product out there to make it successful so that they buy more from us and we become more successful. Gary mentioned earlier the own brand products. We have a number of areas of these. They're broken down into two areas for us fundamentally. Firstly, they're what I would call application specific. So it may be a ground-braced laser rangefinder for a military customer. It may also be an air bubble detection piece of equipment for a dialysis machine. Right? They're about as far apart as applications as you get. And yet the technology for building them out of the Weymouth facility that Scott referred to in our clean room is exactly the same. It's the application that makes them specific. We then have Duracool. Duracool is a line that we develop that has a range of relays and contactors. There is relays and contactors, the electromechanical devices go into all the automotive industry. They go into the off-road EV market. They go into energy harvest and energy storage facilities. Well, some of the semiconductors that we work with are leading edge from a semiconductor point of view, and they're smaller and they're low power. There's still no substitute for a big relay or contactor switching that high-end energy. You can't get away from that. The physics isn't there yet to switch high currents and high voltages in a very small package. So we're still selling an awful lot of these. It's a great line that we work with. At Solster, we pride ourselves on being at the center of the electronics industry. We work with and understand the technologies, we understand the suppliers, and we understand the products that our customers and our OEMs need. We can navigate the challenges, understand the solutions and applications, and deliver the services that they want in order to make them successful and deliver them a great product that they can take to market. We understand how important security is for IoT. Currently, there are estimated to be something like 17 billion connected devices on the planet. That's anticipated to be double by 2030. That's a huge amount of a security concern somewhere that you've got to make sure everyone is unhackable, is not accessible to people who wish to do us harm. It's a big piece of the pie. We also understand the application of AI, machine learning, and programming on the edge. Again, we work with customers to try and guide them to the point where they understand what is the best solution for them. Do they need to go through a cloud service provider? Do they need to do the decision making on the edge, close to the process node? We can talk to them all about this and supply the components that do this. It's this consultative approach that customers like from us. We have a vast array of services that Scott mentioned also that we can deploy to help customers get product to market, to help them protect it. But the value-added services we supply don't come for free. You'll be pleased to know. It's a value add that we provide. But what it means is the total cost of ownership for the customer is still far better because of the value add that we're providing. It's our unmatched technical knowledge, our connections, and our entrepreneurial spirit that we think makes us the electronic component distributor in the UK. Quite simply, we believe we are the vital component. That concludes my presentation. We're happy to take any questions.
Lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, I'll just pass you the microphone. Do you have any questions for the guys from the room? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Okay, sorry.
Good morning and thank you. I suppose given how embedded your products are and the service into customers. Could you, what other than price, what would mean that you didn't win a contract? Some of the other reasons for perhaps not winning customer contracts.
Generally, when we say not winning contracts, what we mean is we miss out on the design phase. Okay, and it may be simply that we do not have the offering for the specific point that customer needs, whether it be a processing power, whether it be a power usage amount, whether it be an infrastructure piece. We don't have every single franchise supplier, electronic component supplier, manufacturer in the world as a partner. There are a lot more outside of this, and there are a lot of people doing what we do. Some of them do it quite well, a lot of them less well. So,
and I suppose following on from that, what are there in terms of gaps in your product range? Where would you like to actually expand on your range?
There are always gaps in the product range because there are our engineers and our business development people are always out identifying where we could be taking additional business if we had the right product. If I take interconnect, plugs and sockets, we don't enter into that space at all at the moment. It is an area that we've targeted that we would like to grow. You don't just go and buy or sign an agreement with a connector company. We would need to bring in the expertise to run that company as well. But it is absolutely an identified area where I think, yeah, that's a gap for us. You know, we can connect everything wirelessly for any protocol that you wish. But a hard and fast plug that goes in here, yeah, that's not our bag. But there's still a huge amount of value in there. So that's one area that we're looking at, absolutely.
If I can expand on that, another area that is software services for generation of recurring revenue is an area that we are looking at right now, because it creates recurring revenue, but also maintains a customer relationship way beyond shipping a product, and that's something that we've started to look at with some force this year. So that's something that is a gap right now.
Just wanted to follow up on that example you gave about the customer comes along and asks about AI, and then you say, actually, we've got a much more cost-effective, practical solution which doesn't need AI, right?
Okay.
How often does the customer go, okay, then you're right, let's go ahead with that, but I still want to see what the AI solution would look like?
They very rarely to us say, okay, yes, let's do that.
Exactly.
Some do, but the majority say, okay, well, I thought my idea was quite good, so now you're telling me it's not. I need to understand that. It's a tricky balance with a customer, telling them that you think you might have a better idea than they've come up with. And it's the expertise that our teams have in the field to be able to talk them through, why are you doing this? Ask the questions. Why are you looking to do this? Why do you want to do this? We've seen an awful lot of customers over the years that have wanted to do things that don't make a huge amount of sense initially. For instance, a customer that wants to put a camera in a field to see how often a gate's opened, and his solution was to stream video, high definition video, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, that's huge amounts of data cost to you. You know, it's one way to do it, but why not put a sensor on the gates, and we'll put a very low latency 2G modem there, and it can just ping you when that gate opens. Oh yeah, that's a far better idea. So we talk to customers and work with customers to help them understand. We're not the experts in their application, they are. What we are good at is bringing the products and seeing how they can use them differently. There are absolutely some times when we say we don't have a product for this. I'm ever so sorry. We're not afraid of that.
Given the consultative nature and the bespoke nature of all the applications, although there's a communal tech platform that you can apply, how much is there a challenge of scaling up each time because it's on a case by case basis, or is there a volume play you can do with this work?
There is a volume play. We run seminars at our facility. Hopefully some of you have been around the facility in Redditch and you've seen the training facility we have there. We'll run a seminar for one of our suppliers or two of our suppliers to talk about a latest platform and try and get more and more customers to be looking at that. So we can standardize to a degree on that. Every customer does things slightly differently. Every customer's got different experiences of products, whether it be ST, whether it be microchip, whether it be analog devices, whether it be anybody else. And you have to build on that. Electronic component engineering is built out of the engineers that all come out of university with the same degree. It's different today than it was 30 years ago because the technology's moved on. But fundamentally, the principles are still the same. So that's the baseline that we build upon. And all of our business development guys are degree qualified engineers. So I've had that Most of them have been on the bench and developed product for themselves. So it's understanding the experience that these guys have to be able to say, I've seen somebody doing something like this. What about if we bring this in and add that to it? Would that give you something more? Oh yeah, no, that could really differentiate. Thank you. You know, a design engineer on a customer wants to do a really good job. So he's listening to our engineers because they can help him do a really good job.
Just to expand on that, sorry, because we are linking up the industry, if there are areas of expertise we don't have, we're able to call and bring that in as we need to. So we can scale externally as well as internally.
It sounds like, given the very kind of specific requirements that customers have, that a lot of this is customer pull. But how easy is it for you to go out and prospect for business and actually say, well, we've got solutions that you might not even have thought about? How big a part of the kind of new business win is you actually going out and prospecting for customers?
Very easy. I mean, at the entry level, everything is off the shelf. So it's easy to have a broad net if that's the way you want to do it. We choose to differentiate because we want to add value. So it's very easy. If we wanted to just scattergun a whole heap of customers, we could do that. But we want to focus on those customers we can add value. Otherwise, you're just a phone call away from being outpriced at some point.
And are there synergies also then in terms of you develop a product for a particular customer and then think, well, actually, there's others out there that we could probably provide similar service to?
Absolutely. Working sideways through an industry is often what we do as a result of an innovation somewhere that we suddenly develop or stumble across, and we say, okay, there are other people that will benefit from this. So absolutely.
Can you just talk a bit about product life cycle? So once you're designed in and you're supplying that component in, sort of what happens maybe further down the line when that solution, you know, becomes a bit more commoditized? Do you start to get sort of pricing pushback, or if there's a product sort of upgrade cycle, does it more automatically come back to you? How much sort of work do you lose there? Just, yeah.
Yes. So a customer will design a new product. And in the first instance, it will have all the bells and all the whistles that they'll take it out there. They mostly have the intention of a later date coming and doing a cost reduced version of it to maximize this. North of 50% never get there, because what they've actually moved on to is not cost reducing this, but started on the next iteration of that product. They only have a limited amount of engineering resource. So how they deploy it is really important. So some of them do go back and cost down it, absolutely. And they will cost that down through looking at component choices, but they'll also look at where it's being manufactured. Maybe being manufactured in the UK, the volume has increased such that now they're going to a Far Eastern or Indian or Indonesian manufacturer to populate their circuit boards. Well, we can track that business and pick it up out there. Yes, it gets harder. Yes, it's a far more competitive landscape out there, and we have to work harder to get it because we've not got boots on the ground out there. The product life cycle changes depending on the industry as well. So we work from the military people where we're talking up to 30 years of a product that they have to support. Submarines don't get spun around every 6 weeks, but a new iPhone will come out every 6 months. We don't work with Apple. We're not in the iPhone at all, but you understand the commoditized nature of that type of product all the way through to products that are going to be around for a long period of time. Oil and gas is another industry where products stay around for a long period of time. So the industry drives an awful lot of this.
Thanks. Just thinking about the sort of growth in the business over the last few years, I mean, how do you break that down between sort of volume on sort of going up on particular components versus bringing in new lines versus sort of new geographies, that sort of?
Yeah, we look at our growth every year and understand where it's come from, where it's coming from next year in just the same way. We have a design pipeline that we're looking at for what designs are going to come into fruition in the future. What technology is that driving? It's far more interesting to be looking forward and seeing what are we going to get in the next financial year that's coming through. What are the new drivers in medical industry that we're involved in? What are the new drivers in the industrial space that we're working with? And we'll try and convert them. Well, yes, we try and increase our customer count, selling more to the same customer and selling more to new customers. Are the only two ways we grow our business, really. So we try and access both at the same time.
Yeah, nothing to add.
Okay.
In terms of what that's been and how that's respectively the sort of
Shall I grab
contribution.
some of the numbers?
Well, maybe that's a bit
to
too
help
much.
a little bit. If we look at historic growth, it's been about half and half between organic, high single digit organic growth and complementary M&A on top of that. If you look at total growth, it's been about 50-50. Organic's a little bit less, M&A has been a little bit more in recent times. And in terms within that organic, we've had the question in the past, how much of it is price and how much of it is volume? It's actually quite a hard one to answer because the mix of projects changes. So as JB's talked about, you do see costs down on some of the existing projects where prices fall, but people designing the new iteration of components, and the new components, the price goes up, the older ones, the price goes down. So actually, it's probably of the organic growth, it's probably about half and half is, if you were to look at it in terms of price and volume.
Any further questions? Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. Just two on own brand, I guess. I guess what are the key considerations for customers to kind of move to an own brand product over a franchise product? What are you kind of seeing there? And then are there any kind of particular gaps in your own brand product that you'd kind of like to address?
So from an own brand point of view, we have a team based out of Pangbourne, just outside Reading, who work with customers to design things with them. So that's very bespoke. The things that we design out of that, the special projects group, tend to be specifically for a customer and funded by that customer in non-refundable engineering charges, etc. That tends to be something that's only available for them because it will be them around. It's not that it's IP owned, it's just that the look and feel of that product is for that customer. It's tailored for that customer. When we look at the relays and contactors, they are far more prolific. They will go anywhere into anything. And we sell them into many different industries. I mentioned a few, we sell them into many more and can go almost anywhere, particularly in the industrial space. Can we get more own brand products? Absolutely, no question we can. We are looking to expand that range. We have now people working for Duracool for us in mainland Europe and the UK, whose job it is to expand that product portfolio out. What else do we need? Where can we go and get a particular contactor in a particular way that fits in a particular industry and grow that? We want to grow it in the area that we've got the knowledge and expertise. We don't want to just go and get a whole load of other stuff and try and sell anything. The value we add is knowing these products inside out of the own brand products that we have and working with the people that we work with to manufacture these to make sure that we do know them inside out means that that range will ultimately grow.
I think the other point, James, is we don't want to compete with our franchise suppliers. So it's complementary own brand products rather than competing with, we're never going to be a semiconductor manufacturer.
You've mentioned a few times that you have very sticky customers and that you want long-term partnerships. And I think FaceWatch said they want to work with you for at least the next few years. Do you have any numbers around average number of years that you're working with the same customer? And is that number growing? And what are you doing around trying to improve that and really ensure that you are getting some sort of sticky recurring revenue?
Yes, we are trying to increase that. We're always looking to increase customer count. Unfortunately, the nature of the world is some customers don't last. Some customers do fall away. We have approximately about a 20% attrition rate every year on business that we have. Everything else is customers that we've been dealing with for many, many, many years. And we try and retain that. And it's the level of service. It can't just be on price. It has to be level of service and the products that we supply them from a value add point of view that keeps us tied in. It's the experience that the customer has that keeps them coming back again and again and again. And there are customers, I'm sure, that go back to when Gary was running the component side of the business that are still customers today.
Sector. I mean, we've got customers that have been with us 30, 40 years, a long time. So equally on some of our franchises, I dug out our AIM admission document, and there's a supplier on there called Microsemi. We signed it in 1993, so it's part of the microchip family now, but we've equally got very long supplier relationships as well, which are equally important.
Development. You may have touched on this already, but could you just clarify whether value-added services is a revenue-generating line, or is it a lead into selling products in the first instance?
Revenue generating. It certainly is. And it helps maintain a relationship with the customer for a long time, because it goes beyond, I can get it 10 cents cheaper from somebody else. It's a tactic, but it is definitely a revenue driving tactic.
Right, so crudely, is that billing engineering hours then?
It could be a flat rate per device that we add as an additional adder, or it could be for engineering time. If somebody's looking for us to do some research with them, it can be cut many ways. So it could be all of the above, truth be told. But it tends to be an adder as an additional service.
Okay. Could I twist your arm to split the revenue in components between the three elements?
Not me, you couldn't. Maybe John.
It's almost impossible to do, because, as Scott said, it's an addition per component. So we sell the product at better margin at better prices. So what price would you sell? Yeah, if you look components, the broad line distributors set the floor, the catalog sales. We look and do secure much better margins within our components division as a result of the value that the team adds to customers.
Okay, I'll try another one then. Can I twist your arm to give us something? You mentioned lots of different industries that you supply to, and I think this information is available at group level. But for the components division, can you give us a sort of approximate industry split, please?
Yeah, I would say industrial components is, and the industrial market is probably 35 to 40%. Military, we would expect to be around about 15 to 20. Medical is about 10, but growing. And the rest fall into a whole different array. The challenge with tracking some of the industry information is when we sell products to a subcontract manufacturer. So this contract manufacturer may be assembling printed circuit boards for people in 10 different industries. Trying to track which one that one is for can start to get a little bit dicey. So we never get to what is a number that is completely reliable.
Okay, and oil and gas, because that's pretty specific.
Yeah, oil and gas is still a big part of our number, and I would imagine that's probably lower now. It's probably sub 10%, 8 to 10, I would expect.
Perfect, thank you.
Hi guys, just a few questions on the software thing that you were talking about. Is this something customers are asking you for, or is this something that you think that customers will want to incorporate into their solutions?
The latter. There's an education piece for customers, because it's the unknown. We didn't know we could do this, and once you take the lid off it and show what's possible, then they become incredibly interested. So it's the latter, I would say. There are very well informed customers for sure that know exactly what they want, and they have their own software solution, or even their own incumbent software supplier, and we'll happily work with that supplier in tandem. But particularly, I'll talk about Simon at FaceWatch, was unaware that you could remotely monitor these sites and do some low touch control. And there's an education piece. So yes, it's more the latter, I would say, for my particular experience anyway.
Thank you. And can I just ask, with regards to, I know it's something in the future, but how do you reckon this is going to go? Is this going to be something that'll be built in-house, or you're going to maybe do a small bolt-on acquisition?
For software?
Yeah.
I think initially, I mean, we're working with software partners, so they own the software, so we're introducing them. We're generating a small amount of recurring revenue as a result. What that looks like in the future really depends on what that growth looks like for us. I mean, we're not software, not a software company, but we know of a lot. So don't know is the honest answer. But today it's really standing on the shoulders of those who are already doing it.
Thank you.
Hi, do you have much of a sort of cross-sell opportunity into customers, as in selling more products into the same customers, and how do you approach that, if so?
Cross-sell with whom?
to your customers? So say you sell one product and your customer at the
Absolutely.
moment
Sorry,
try and
yes.
sell two,
So
three,
we're
or four.
always trying to maximize. We refer to it as maximizing the bill of materials cost. So for the components that sit on a printed circuit board, that produces a list of parts, and that's referred to as a bill of materials. We want to take as much of that as we can. Selling one part onto a bill of materials means that you're incredibly at risk of being vendor reduced at some point. The more parts you supply on there, the better off you are. So absolutely, we're looking for more. Yes, every single time we want to sell more to that same customer on that bill of materials. Absolutely. And we've got the product range these days to be able to do it.
John, can I just ask you one that's come in online and relates actually to an earlier point you made in respect of security? How do you ensure there are no security risks in the components that you buy in to build your solutions products, given the current fear of, for example, Chinese commercial espionage? Don't you just...
Okay, so all of the components that we buy in are from a franchise source. They're the people that are manufacturing. They're controlling the manufacturing process from a wafer all the way up through encapsulation, final product and test, all the way through to us. These are big multinational companies that have got the quality systems in place to ensure there's traceability all the way back down to the fabrication point. So we rely on them. We don't get product from microchip that doesn't work, that hasn't got a problem. It works every single time. And if there's not, they take it back and they do an analysis on the failure and they'll come back to us. But we rely on our partners to deliver that to us, and we don't have a problem with it.
Great. Any more questions from the room? If not, obviously, thank you, John, Scott, Peter. We've got 10 minutes, perhaps, just a bathroom break, grab a coffee, and then I'll invite you back here, say, at 1:45, and then we'll get on to the stuff over there that I'm not sure if I set off when I sat over there, but thank you. Lovely. If I could just ask to take your seats if you could, that'd be great. Thank you very much indeed. Lovely. Alistair, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Everybody can hear me okay, I hope. Yeah, ready for the next 300 slides that I've got to present for you? I just give you a quick overview of the system side of the business now, and broadly that is divided into the computers. We have power, we have imaging, we have antennas, and then the gentlemen here are going to talk to you more about the communications business in depth as such. The thing that pulls it all together, because this is the question I've had a number of occasions, is, well, what makes you a thing? And it's harsh environments, it's rugged things. So we don't do computers that are sit on your office. We do rugged, harsh environment fit for purpose products. So the things that brings all of it together is the fact that we are in difficult. So whether it's noisy, vibration, extreme heat, etc., etc. So hopefully that brings it into a little bit of a line. And then just a bit of infographics. Really. We found these super useful to try and explain to purchasers, project managers, what do we do? And you'll notice on the website we've got clickable links through, so it really sort of brings it together. So here we're talking about the intelligent transportation systems, and we work with a number of companies that are looking at surveillance, of course. We've talked earlier with our sister company about that, about pollution control as well, and sad to say also ANPR and CCTV, which I hope many of you haven't been on one of our cameras. But what we will do is we'll work with a customer to develop the rugged computer that goes with the right camera that goes on top of the gantry that then takes the pictures as and when you break the bus lane or the law on it. The reality is that over time we talk about sticky customers. We've moved from having servers down below, bigger computers, and we're all getting down to smaller and smaller computers with bigger and bigger processing powers. So on the top of that gantry now, you've got a computer and a camera and a system that has to withstand the inundation that you've seen over the last couple of days, the extreme heats. We were in 40 degrees summer, I think a couple of years ago, we hit that for the first time. So when we talk about extremes, we mean that both cold and hot. If we get it wrong, then the customer has to go and pick it up and repair it. And that's, cherry pickers, time, energy, huge cost for them to do it. So the benefit for us is that we will do something that will last for a period of 10 to 15 years. And then we'll be working on the next iteration as technology moves along. So you'll get this continual cycle between 4 and 5 years where we'll start on the next iteration of what's going on. Our customers are sticky. I like that phrase. I'm going to keep using that phrase, which means long-term relationships, and it's engineering-led. That's the other thing. It's not purchasing-led. It's not led by sort of other aspects of the business, the operations side. It's all about the engineering side of it. It starts with the scope of work. We look at the scope of work. We come up with a compliance matrix, and then you end up with the statement of work, which is what we're going to do, and that's very collaborative. And engineers aren't sentimental people. They like to work with facts and figures, and they like to come up with solutions. And so you put our engineers together with the engineers of the company that we're dealing with, and you then come up with that cooperative spirit. So that hopefully gives you a little bit of an idea about the process of it. So intelligent transport systems is one area. Industrial warehousing. The element that we worked for a number of years is in the power side of it, so autonomous robotics. To get a battery to work in cold conditions, if any of you have got EV cars, you know the difference in your range from a cold day to a hot day is extreme. You put our battery into a refrigerated environment, we've got to select the right cell, we've got to get the battery management system correct, and it's got to be in a correct ruggedized mechanical system as well. So it operates at high speed and at very low temperatures. Difficult to do. And that's why we fit in that lovely sort of Goldilocks area where the big boys could do this, but the volumes probably aren't there for the big boys. So we fit in that area underneath where the volume's enough for us to do it. It's specific enough for us, but also because it's difficult, there's a lot of SMEs that wouldn't be able to do it because they haven't got the EMC chamber. They haven't got the, we talked about the anechoic antennas chamber over in Leominster as well. So it's having all of those facilities to facilitate the project and to bring it in on time as well. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that our supply chain, you only realize that your supply chain is no good when things go wrong. I guess what we saw through COVID with all of the component crisis that we're still living with a little bit, actually the relationships that we have with those suppliers was super good and super important. And we only had, I think, one customer in the end that went away because of a lack of ability, which over the 700 or 800 customers that we're dealing with, we were pretty pleased with that. But we continue to expand our supply chain. Clearly, there was a question earlier about China. We work very heavily with the Taiwanese. We work with those guys super closely. We're allowed to adapt their computers. We're allowed to get into their computers and change the networks, do the GPU, all of those kind of things. And also we're beginning to develop into the North American market as well, particularly on the back of the power business. But I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a minute. The other key important area for us is medical. And I think one of the gentlemen talked about the PAPR stuff, which is the one on the right-hand side there. We bought an imaging company a couple of years ago, and that's enabled us to get into many more medical solutions. Advances in AI are creating higher demands in this. And so we've got patient positioning, for instance, for radiotherapy treatment, advanced computer vision assisted surgery, so significant things, capturing, transmitting, and displaying HD digital and analog video for real-time training purposes, and also supporting machine vision medical applications. So you think of AI, you think of what we're doing, we're bringing it down to the level for the medical world. We're also actually working in the ventilator world. The sleep apnea ventilator is a particular hot topic at the moment. We happen to be dealing with the customers there. Global demand ramps up. And again, these things are difficult, but basically it's an emergency supply. If the main hospital power unit goes down, it kicks into gear. So it has to work. Power, antennas, and imaging are really what I would call our global businesses. So power, we bought a business in California, which is the battery pack assembly bit. We have an office over in Maryland now, which is our imaging company. And then antennas, probably about 20% of the antennas business is American. But we recognize the North American market for those areas is the biggest market. And so we have planned to get more boots on the ground. We've already recruited 2 more people. And we are also looking at assembly in North America as well, particularly with some of the defense and security projects that are coming up. We're acutely aware that with the change in president, potentially either Trump or Biden, we've got to be ready for that, onshoring that capacity, if you like, to be able to extend into the North American market and being seen as a friendly US-based company. So we've got facilities over there. We're going to be building that American to American face of the company as well. So if you remember, one of the original pillars was to become more international. The North America is the #1 priority for the systems side over the next few years. It's a bit of a whistle-stop store, but again, some of the conversations I've had with you all is that we're incredibly diverse. When they say, well, what is it you really do? We do work with industrial, we work with defense and security, we work in a little bit with oil and gas, and we work in the transportation markets as well. But I just say, to wrap it up, it's all about rugged conditions, difficult to do, which is why we are having great success with this at the moment. I'm now going to pass you over to James and Chris, and they're going to give the communication solutions overview, which is a good example, I think, of where an idea from a customer has come into reality, and using our partners as well. So over to you.
Hi, good morning, James Hall. I'm the Senior Business Development Manager for the Communications Business Unit within the Systems Division. So I'm here to really talk to you about our manufacturing ability and how we develop products in line with customer to basically develop the state-of-the-art product lines, working with customers, integrated into their teams to make sure we solve real-life problems. So our Communications Business Unit is the exclusive UK value-added reseller for Persistent Systems wave relay mobile ad hoc radios. They are the global leader in mobile ad hoc technology, and therefore that gives us a really good foot in the door and a good opportunity to work into these defense markets and other sectors where we are integrated within their teams, which gives us a head start in developing products that meets their needs. This particular product line has been a really good revenue generator, which you'll have seen through our NATO contract that was awarded last year. So SteerType previously supported a UK Ministry of Defence exercise in the United States. We were there to test wave relay communication systems as a innovation product line for the defence to take forward. Whilst doing that, we were exposed to their current system. So as you can see from the slide on the screen, on the right-hand image is their current solution, and then on the left two images are the wave relay system that we were proposing at the time. Due to the exercise, they were moving the battlefield headquarters very regularly to avoid detection. They were being hunted by a simulated US enemy, so they were moving their headquarters very regularly to avoid detection. When they got to each location, it was clear that this equipment wasn't practical. The cables were tangled. There was not enough power outlets to power the equipment. So it was inherent that it was a problem for them, and it wasn't as effective as it could be. It would take something like 30 minutes to an hour to set this equipment up at each location after they moved. That wasn't practical. So it quickly became apparent that the in-service solution and the solution we were proposing wasn't appropriate for this type of scenario. On arrival at each location, as I said, the cables were tangled, and this created a problem for them. It had to be deconstructed every time they moved, which was also an issue in terms of packaging, transportation. So we worked with the customer in order to develop a new product, which is shown on the screen. SteerType took the knowledge and the feedback gained from supporting our Ministry of Defence customer and worked with end users to design and manufacture a field deployable communication system that solved these issues that were previously highlighted on the previous slide. The crib is special in terms of it incorporates product lines and capabilities from the rest of the systems group, including the wave relay communication system, embedded computing, and also antennas from our antennas division in Leominster. Obviously, we've flipped over to the cameras that are showing the live products that we brought with us today. We can go into that in more detail. It highlights synergy across the group and our engineering ability to design new products based on customer requirements. If we flip back to the slides now. Customer support is a core value for SteerType and Solid State. Working closely with our customers enables SteerType to develop new products to meet customer needs and demands. The crib is a great example of this. Designed to improve users' effectiveness, efficiency and survivability, which is a key aspect to UK Ministry of Defence customers, it can be set up in under 5 minutes. It instantly provides connectivity to the network, providing voice communications, video streaming, and also situational awareness to see where other troops are deployed. This prevents incidents that have happened previously, like blue-on-blue incidents. On your right, we have the working example demonstrating a deployable headquarters. We're streaming local video from the dismounted soldier and the rugged display controller you can see on the desk. We're streaming live remote video from our headquarters in Redditch, where you can see PTZ video on the screen, not on me. So if I think the camera's going to pan in onto the actual crib unit, where you'll see the videos from our office in Redditch. These are fully controllable from anywhere in the globe using the controller that you can see on the desk. We can take control of those PTZ cameras and actually control them. In addition, we have simulated drone footage and live positioning on the map. This shows the location of other users. Over lunch, we're happy to give practical and live demonstrations of the crib unit and the other equipment that we have here today, so you can see it in more detail firsthand. It really highlights our manufacturing and engineering ability to take customer ideas, work with customers in order to design state-of-the-art products that actually solve these real-life problems. this just summarizes what we were discussing before in terms of the solution that was currently in service, the problems that they had with that, and then the technology that we went away and designed to solve these issues. As you can see, rapidly increasing setup time, breakdown time, increasing effectiveness and survivability, as mentioned previously. The crib is not just a defence product. It's actually been taken on by Plymouth Marine Laboratories, who is a autonomous testing site down in Plymouth, and also the German EOD police, so a slightly different sector, have taken on the crib unit as part of their operational needs and to deliver a capability into their customers. I'm just now going to hand you over to Chris, who will go into the other areas of the industries that we deal with.
Thanks, James. Hopefully we click it the right way. We've got James was talking about the crib and the origins and how we worked with a customer. We saw the problems, and the crib was the result of that. Talking about air and maritime sectors now, we were looking at the maritime environment is particularly a difficult environment. Alistair mentioned about rugged. You've got problems with solar radiation. You've got problems with salt spray. You've got problems there where things can go wrong rapidly in that environment. We were working with an unmanned surface vessel company, and they asked us to take a new approach to the communications to that unmanned surface vessel. So with the wave relay technology, we were looking to put that into the unmanned surface vessel to actually, we can swarm unmanned surface vessels if we want to with the technology. We can have one-on-ones. We can have them lined up with the technology. But that, and they wanted then something that they could actually use on the unmanned surface vessel which would survive that environment. And so the picture in the circle on the screen there shows a typical use where it's a typical, there's a radio in there's a mast mount, there's some antennas, there's some wires, there's all sorts of extra bits and bobs. So they asked us to produce a custom product. That custom product only wanted one connector, power and data. So if somebody got on the unmanned surface vessel who was not authorized, shall we say, unplugged it, it's useless because there's no power. So it was a very specialist requirement. And the custom product was successful. It's deployed. It was designed. It was paid for to be designed by us. So that was important. And the result was effectively what we're calling the MMCU, and that has been offered as a standard product to the open market, which looks like this in the next slide. We call it the mast mountable communications unit, which is a subset of what I've just been discussing. The RF module is the black bit, and the case around it is, as I say, it's been designed so it will withstand that maritime environment I discussed earlier. The picture you see there is where it's mounted underneath on the bottom there where the circle is. Then some RF connectors go up to the antennas at the top of the unit. Now that's a rigid hull inflatable boat that it's sat on, and that's installed in that structure. And the solution's already been designed and installed with a key customer who undoubtedly is happy with the solution, shall we say. And it's again, it's a situation where you've got the wave relay technology along with the MMCU is providing, you can network ribs together, they'll all talk to each other, you can send video across the network. So it's a network solution, and that entails them also, they can have, for instance, SATCOM bring in the information from satellite comms as well. So it's part of that, forming a network for that solution. This slide shows something I mentioned earlier, that on the left-hand side, you've got an existing client solution. You've got cables, you've got loads of connectors. Those connectors could be a problem when you've got salt water, and you've got then a solution that's not elegant, shall we say. So we ended up, as I say, on the right-hand side with the MMCU solution, which is the steer type product, not the custom product. Similar story to the crib, where the requirement or need from the customer ended with this design. And we also recognize that the unmanned market is becoming larger and larger. That's unmanned surface vessels, drones, UAVs, and that's an area where obviously it's important to compete in. This is for the benefit of everybody not in the room. It's actually on a tripod over on the right hand side there. That's the actual product itself. The antennas we've stuck on the top there, but they could be cables going up to the solution that you saw on the rib design in the picture. And then you'll have one connector generally going up to that, which takes power and data. And that data will then be a computer or some sort of, could be a camera, could be any form of sensor on the rib, or unmanned surface vessel for that matter. Air operations are, drones are probably even bigger market than unmanned surface vessels. You see in the news today, you see drones all over the place, and you'll see some pictures there. We've got in the middle, that's the future. That is an air taxi. And you've got balloons, all sorts of types of balloons as well, but also drones that do give you, generally they're used for ISR work, where you want to see what's going on. Could be inspection work on cables. It could be all sorts of different types of requirements where you want to inspect things that even wind farms in the North Sea, you need to inspect them. So drone is very useful for that sort of thing as well. The technology we use enables that to have a connection to you on the ground. You can have a point-to-point connection. You can have, as I say, these drones can swarm and we can all talk to each other. You can decide then what you want to do with that drone. So we've worked closely with a lot of these customers. It's customer driven. As James mentioned earlier, the wave relay technology allows us to actually enter that door, and then we talk to them about the bigger problem. And this is where we get to talk to them. You see the actual here on the left it has the wave relay installed in it. The tracking antenna on the right will track that out to about 150 kilometers. So you can have people on the ground. Those people on the ground could actually then see the video that the drone is seeing. So you can actually then, you can track it from some distance away. It's got different uses, but certainly in the defense market, it's very useful. James was talking about the dismounted solution that I'll talk about next slide, but you can actually control a PTZ camera using this data technology. So the PTZ camera could be in the drone. The guy on the ground then has the ability to move that camera and see what he wants to see, and it's not the guy 150 kilometers away that he has to ask, can you move the camera, please? So the technology there is enabling different ways of working, shall we say, in different vertical markets. The final thing is that we talked about Persistent Systems. We're sole UK distributor. We also have rights to basically Western Europe with European presence. We've got a network of partners across Europe where we work with those guys. And we've been doing that for some years now. So that's the value added solution. We're especially in the defence and security sector, but it does have different vertical markets, as I mentioned earlier. Picture on the top right shows different hardware solutions for different installations. The circle on the left is actually showing what we call a dismounted solution. And the dismounted solution, you'll see commonly called Sergeant Steertight. He's standing over there. And he actually is wearing the solution, enables him to do voice, but also data. Modern technology allows you to do text chat. So it's basically a network. All the soldiers are all networked together and they can just chat away. A modern way of doing things. Nobody talks to anybody anymore. So, but the soldiers can text chat and it's silent. You don't have to actually even talk, and you can then do that. You can move, you can text chat, you can see video coming onto the screen, which is on his chest, and that will enable him potentially to see certain things that he could never see. And that's the sort of technology we're talking about, but that's a dismounted solution that enables him to receive a lot more data than he ever used to. And that's basically, as I say, part of the communications network. So the crib and the MMCU are nodes on that network, all part of that solution. And we built around this technology. We've also developed services. We talked about Approved Trainer up here. Those services include training. We've got trainers that go out. We're doing a training course probably every other week at the moment to different customers, predominantly defence, but that is a very high tempo, and we're yielding that helps as well, because it's amazing what somebody will talk to a trainer about rather than the salesman. So it's quite, and you get some interesting stories coming back saying, "Oh, we could use that here." So it helps in also that communications as well in part of the process. I think that brings us on to any questions.
That's great, James. Thank you very much indeed, and Chris. Alistair, if I could invite you back up, that'd be great. Thank you. If I could take any questions from the room, I've passed you the microphone. Thank you.
Hi, yeah, two from me again. Just on the products and I guess the challenges of the design process, do you find the ruggedized nature is more of a challenge, or the technical capability more often than not? And then more on the kind of lead generation piece, do you find that leads coming more from the system side of the business more often, or the component side, or does it kind of work autonomously between the two?
Yeah, we're all, if I can just take that first bit there, we're all working on something called Pipedrive now, which is a CRM system. So between Solster and ourselves, it gives us greater visibility of leads, actually. So just as a step forward for us. But yeah, again, there are new. We watch the website very carefully. A lot of our customers are quite cagey. You'll see a lack of case studies on our website, and that's because nobody wants us to talk about what we do. And I don't mean the defence and security, I just mean generally with the customers. They don't really want a customer to know that they haven't got the entire solution. So we have some software that we can help actually now see who's coming to our website. So if you had a look at our website, we'll probably know who it is. We won't know specifically. We don't want to be that intrusive, but it gives us a clue. But we do have a BD team now, which is actively pursuing customers. But it's fair to say that a lot of what we do is project-based, and projects mean that you've got to have a window of opportunity. So what we're trying to do is establish that communication with the team, because the cloud will break at some point, and it'll be that they need this new solution coming through. Engineers are really who we're trying to pitch to. They're the only people that make the difference with these kind of technical solutions. And when they're ready to talk to you, they'll do it, but they've got to know who to talk to you. Very often we find an engineer will move from one company to another that we've never dealt with, and guess what, we get a phone call. So we're trying to establish more creative ways to reach the engineer. And so when he does think, hang on, I've got this rugged thing going on here, who do I know? I tell you what, these steer type boys are there. So but that's a slow burn. You know, new customers are tricky. But it's also with our existing customers, some of the very big ones we deal with, they themselves are super siloed. So they actually don't know what the other companies, the other side of their business is doing. And they may be only 6 feet away. So you can see the challenges we've got there. But the good thing about being around a long time, we know those challenges, and we're doing everything we can to break down those barriers. I forgot the first bit of the question. Maybe rugged. Yeah.
To answer your first bit about the ruggedization and technology, obviously that's the biggest challenge, is designing products for harsh environments. We have a history of doing that and doing it well. But recently we have a team of ex-military people who know the environment. We've got lessons learned from connectors that don't work in salt fog. So we work with our engineering team to advise them on the best practices for designing products for rugged and harsh environments. So I think with a team of ex-users and a good team of engineers, we develop products that really hit the nail on the head, and we sort of don't miss any gaps when it comes to that rugged and harsh environments.
Just on that, we're not a test house, but many of our products have to go through a test house to be officially certified that they're fit for purpose. So what we now run internally is we've got the EMC chamber, as we talked about, we've got the vibration, we've got the heat, we've got all the things that we can push that product through, so we know it's going to pass because we'll have the same criteria for it. And the advantage for that is the customer knows they're not going to go back to square one. If you end up, because very often a shock and vibration test is the worst, and that's a prototype that we use, and it tends to rattle it around. But that generally in our world it works because they've been through all those iterations making sure that it does it. So but it's hard, as James rightly says. That's super hard to do. The software is the easy bit very often, but it's actually making it work in situ, which is difficult. And the phrase the engineers always use, as long as it doesn't break the law of physics, we can probably do it. Because very often we get, a lot of out there ideas sometimes, and certainly the component boys, I suspect, will have more of those bewildering ideas that actually will break the laws of physics. So, yeah, thank you.
Hi guys, thank you. Can I ask about the sole distribution agreement with, what was it, Persistent Solutions? So you've worked with them for a long time. Can I ask about, that obviously brings you some value. Can you talk about like renewals and length of agreement and so on?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fair to say it's been a long relationship. So, but you want to go with that?
The renewal used to be, it started every year, then it went to 2 years. Now I think it's 3 or 4 years, the renewal. So it's grown from that point of view, from a renewal point of view. And we push that more than just as much as anything, but obviously it's a two-way street. We're doing the business, so we've got a bit of power from that point of view, I guess. We've grown the business from, is that me? Is that we've grown the business from not a lot, literally in 2012. It was literally identified one particular project, went for it, won it, and then 10 years later, it's a different proposition, shall we say? So obviously, you see with these products here, so the very strong relationship, and it gets renewed for an even longer period of time now from that point of view.
And if I could just add, it's quite hard to take it away as well. It's an American company, and because of some of the projects we're involved with, you've got to be a UK person. There's got all sorts of security clearances, so they recognise that we get access to places that they wouldn't. And on that same nature, we work with Western European people who are working primarily with NATO customers as well. Again, the same criteria arrives. You've got to have a local person in situ. So there's a great deal of trust between us, I think, which has been great. And the business has benefited vastly because of it on both sides. They've also grown significantly. Yeah.
I think I'd add there that every year the CEO from Persistent Systems comes to see us. He doesn't do that for anybody else. We've got him coming over again in June, and they've grown as a business. They're privately owned. Two guys own the business, and he's one of them. He comes to see us every year, and we do various customer visits, etc. But that's a bonus as well, because he gets to know us, and we're from that point of view, it's good from that point of view.
And just a slightly different question: the crib and the MCU, obviously very clever bits of kit. Who owns the IP there? Can you guys protect that, or can someone else just replicate?
Good question. Yeah, they will own the IP. We'll have very often, let me get this right, it's the background IP we'll own, because some of the wizardry put together will be ours, but the foreground tends to be theirs with the software. But that, if you're a lawyer, is always a little bit of an area that gets discussed. But yeah, we'll own the background stuff. So that works on all of the principle of all of what we do. So with the battery packs, that's our design. What they put around it is theirs, and so there's that challenge there. So, but yeah, a good question. Thank you.
Any other questions from the room? Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Can you just talk a bit about this between the two divisions? How much you sort of you use your own components? How much they're sort of competing against you as they're trying to move up the value chain?
Yeah, so there's a lot between us as systems, and increasingly with Solstra as well. We tend to work increasingly close together. So giving you an example on the MMCU bit of kit there, we probably a few years ago wouldn't have talked about the antennas. And in fact, as an antenna business, we did not do these dipole antennas, but we recognized the opportunity with a NATO contract and with other things. So we then started to manufacture these ourselves. And so on the back of what was happening there, we identified an opportunity, and that's now going gangbusters. So frankly, a different technology. It was kind of not what our antenna people really were at, but actually it's proved incredibly helpful for us. So we're trying to do more and more of that. I think we mentioned the UAVs. We've got battery packs going into some UAVs. We've got data links. We've got cameras, and trying to bring all of those together and present that is what we're trying to do. But remember, in all of those disciplines, there'll be a different engineer involved very, very often. So it's not always as straightforward as you think, as can I introduce you to my colleague, because that engineer actually tends not to worry about it, but we're getting better at doing that. That's why this demonstration works. It basically, that steer-type systems in a box is how we refer to it, because we can talk about all of our disciplines just in that one product area. So, yeah.
Any others? Perfect. Thank you, guys. Gary, Peter, I think it's over to you, sir.
You're very kind to us. Going to give them the difficult ones now.
Thanks very much, Chris. Thanks, Alistair. So last couple of slides, one from me. So yeah, I guess hopefully the guys have done a pretty good job of bringing to life what we do as a group and what the group and the team have to offer. As I said on the earlier slide, we've delivered pretty strong growth over the last 5 years, and the ambition is to continue to replicate that to our next goal of 2030. And as it says here, the ambition is to become an international leader of sustainably engineered components and systems. And that we hope to innovate, providing customers with our trusted technology for their demanding applications. And how are we going to achieve that? Really, the two key drivers for that are continuing to replicate the success we've seen in terms of growth of operating margins. Over my tenure with the group, which is now 7 years, unbelievably, it's gone from 6 to 9 and approaching double digit. The ambition is to see that, replicate that, and go from 9 to 12, and then to complement that with the operational gearing of growing the top line as well. And hopefully that will enable us to maintain our TSR growth of about 20%, which we've achieved over the last 6 or 7 years since I've been with the group. And I'll hand over to Gary to do a final wrap up.
Thank you. every company has its challenges sort of day to day, whether it's customer challenges, suppliers, or internal challenges. What we've been really good at is navigating those in our own business and really driving our strategic ambitions and doing this. We formed in September an executive board, report to the group board. It's very much not an operational board. It's really about taking our strategy, developing it, obviously reporting to the group board, but then deploying it. And since September, I've been amazed at how well that's working. It's really good. There's seven of us on the team. There's 4 executive directors, group head of HR, John Baxter and Alistair Wallace on it. And the work done on that and the speed of delivery is really good to see. I'm probably known to be quite prudent and measured in my style, that those of you that know me, but I must say I'm the most excited I've ever been at the prospects, the medium-term growth of the company. It's just amazing. Whether that be the planned US rollout of our antenna assembly in the USA, largest market on the planet. Alice has already spoken about whether it's Republican or Democrat taking over. Built in America will be really important, and that's something we will rise to that challenge very definitely. Opening our integrated systems production facility in the summer, so we're moving from products that are sort of yay big to enormous great systems there, and we're opening a new 16,000 square foot facility there to build that. That's to really address the demands of our tier 1 defence customers. They are very busy. They need to lean on good supply chain. There are very few of us now in the UK that can do that, and we're talking about programs here that are years, multi-years, decades long, and we will work, and that's part of that infrastructure piece I spoke about, of investing in the business, and we're continuing to do that. And lastly, on own brand product development, work going, there's trips around the world at the moment on that, on how we develop that, and that's something certainly in early July when we do our prelims roadshow, we'll be able to give you more of an update on how we're investing in own brand. But a great pipeline of acquisition opportunity there to bring in new layers of own brand products into the group. As I say, it's very margin additive. But for me, it's the organic stuff. That's where you get the best margin. That'll give us the best return, and that's really exciting. And I think together that it just strengthens the diversity and resilience of the business as we look to achieve our TSR goals and over the our strategy horizon that takes us to 2030. So I'd like to make a few thank yous, if I may. So thanks to Tim Redfern, the Cavendish team, for organising today. It's been a lot of work, but appreciate that. Thanks to Tom for helping us out. We've been with Walbrook PR for many years. Really supportive to us. So thanks again for that. Happy to take questions now. We'll have a chance over lunch if you want to do more one-on-one rather than in an audience. I understand that, and we can take that now, but very happy to take any questions now.
Just one in terms of your margin progression. When we think about that, is that to move up to 12% by adding even more value and moving even further up the value chain in terms of components, or will the growth just come more from those areas and actually there's a lot of work you're already doing that's there and actually it's just going to be less of the commoditized stuff? Or that's unfair, but you know what I mean, coming out the bottom.
I think it's a combination of all of the things you describe for me. So the different drivers in the two halves of the business. Own brand is clearly important in both. Own brand, as Gary said in the outset, is typically 10 points higher than franchised. Own brand at the minute is a relatively small part of what we do. So as we add that will richen the mix. If we look on the system side of what we do, it's about more engineering value added. And clearly operational gearing also helps as well as we continue to scale. So it's a combination of richening the mix of what we do, combined with continuing to grow, which hopefully will continue the successes we've had to date.
Great. Thank you very much indeed. If there's no further questions, it's just me between you and your lunch. If I could just thank all the presenters today, Gary, Peter, Alistair, John, Chris, Scott, James, for updating investors. Thank you to you all. If I could ask investors online not to close the session, as we'll now automatically redirect you so that you can provide feedback to the company. On behalf of the management team of Solid Solutions with Solid State, I'd like to thank you for attending today's presentation. Good afternoon. Thank you, guys.